And that's how God gave me the confirmation that that's the right way you're supposed to do it. So what you think you will look bad on and insecure on is actually the stuff that how you gain attraction and get praise for and start getting the things that you actually be creating these vulnerabilities around and think that if you express these, you won't get the things. Now it's the
Yeah,
other way around.
maybe that just doesn't work with demons or something then, because like I, especially like when I used to be in high school, I used to be super vulnerable and just like show myself and would not care. But then like I didn't really get nothing stemmed from that at all. Like I just got girls bullying me,
Think about it like this.
fight me.
Some of these celebrities, think about it like this. Some of these celebrities are known just like in their people who personally know them, but we know them and we strangers to them though, right? But think about the things why we know these celebrities. They go through way more flunked out shit than us, but they're also open and we know about these things. So it's on the table. So they be dealing with what we think we be dealing with 10 times plus. But the ability of how you deal with things is what allowing a person to be in certain positions. Go ahead, my bad.
My bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. But so like the things that we are vulnerable about, the more we let it show, the more people are going, like when they think about us, they're going to correlate us to that vulnerability. And it's like that's just who we are now. Like that's just how they know us. Oh, okay. And
Right,
now you can really just be yourself and be free because it's like everybody know your
right.
business. Like,
Right. And that's how I like to look at it. Like even like Jada Pinkins and Will Smith situation when they was talking about their marriage counselor. The act like us being well, we ain't average, but let's just make it this an example. The average human and stuff like that wouldn't dare put that online. They rather just comment on celebrity stuff or whatever like that, and they keep that behind closed doors. Some of these situations be worse. But for Will Smith and Jada Pinkins to be in that situation, they're the ones recording and showing people how entanglement flunked out they is. So it's almost like that, all the way down to even when it comes to females. The average female be like, oh yeah, my femininity is this, or I'm a feminist. I look at twerking a certain way. So the average female be like, yeah, I'm gonna delete this, or I don't want to show twerking or show my butt or whatever like that. But then you got Britney Spears up here. She already rich and shit like that. And she do that 10 times plus. So it kind of got to lead to the average human who already ain't nowhere, got to realize that, wait a minute, I ain't shit. So whatever I'm thinking about in my head, it must be a moral system I'm flunked out because we got people in the world that's already rich and got the things I want, and they doing whatever I'm hesitating 10 times more. So that made me think like, oh, it's about vulnerability. So whatever space you in, that's how you do it. Since I'm in the space of spirituality, this is where my vulnerability expressed. But if everybody was to do that to everything, whoever play basketball, whoever do hair, whoever do what, they will attract more customers. Just think about it like this. If you did hair in a beauty salon and you're a person that's, you know how to transmute your vulnerability. So you ain't actually putting your cards on the table, but you know how to express yourself to come to everybody who sit in your chair. I guarantee everybody who want to get their hair done want to jump in your seat before everybody else. They'll start getting jealous, everybody, all your coworkers, that you getting all that people hair and stuff. They won't even care if you do it good because the kind of conversation and the vibe you have. They'll be like, nah, yeah, I want homegirl to do my hair when I go to that beauty salon. So it's all about that, the vulnerability first, and that becomes your ego. People will even give you grace if you ain't even as good at it, whatever you're trying to do.
it just boils down to just be yourself, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But that
Okay.
get tricky too, because sometimes people themselves and the way they natal alignment is, they natural born narcs. So sometimes these people got to get taught though. Sometimes the person is being themselves, they naturally a narc. So they naturally don't do stuff like that. So yeah, that get tricky though. But yeah, I see what you're saying too. Yeah, that's real shit.
You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be gravitating to it.
Real shit. I think your hand on the microphone.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay. Yeah, and then just one thing that I wanted to say for like everyone in the chat, like for subconscious community, if you have like a product, like if you like created something or whatever and you like trying to and you have it on Amazon, like you're selling your products on Amazon, I joined the Amazon affiliates program, but I only want to promote like shit for the mission. So hit me up with and send me the link to your product on Amazon and I'll promote it through the affiliate link and we'll both get paid. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
dope. That's
yeah,
dope.
yeah.
She threw a solution out there for y'all. That's like some soul child type stuff right there. Oh shit. Okay, yeah, real shit. Yeah, keep going. After we gonna set something up for everybody and get it in for real. But yeah, shout out to I am Seller Air. Real shit. Yeah, I remember what she just said. That sounds like some solution type shit right there. All right. What's going down?
Here we go. So, my question is, I have Venus in my fifth house, and it's in Virgo right now, and um, it's been hard for me. I don't know, the retrogrades and everything that's been happening. It feels like the whole world just flipped on top of my head and fell on it. Um,
So you think that got something to do with Venus in your fifth house?
I think it has to do with more so my spirituality,
Oh,
like
okay.
my spirit. I don't know what it is like fully, but
Because Venus in the fifth house just means a person who love pleasure or love attention or love their creativity or love giving attention to the wrong things too and stuff. So that's what that means. Now the spirit themselves got to look at that and be like, all right, this is how I got to deal with this. This how I might fall in this kind of energies and stuff like that. Then that'd be the correspondence of you the higher octave or lower octave spirit utilizing your chakra and your zodiac signs. Now, and I'm not saying you personally. I'm just speaking in context of this teaching.
no, but that though I can resonate with that though, because what I've been going through is literally like my life flashing before my eyes on how I, like how you said with the fifth house expressing and um people, places, and things with the Venus, well, no, with the Virgo being in the fifth house, transiting in the fifth house, how I would be viewing those things, like all of that flashed before my eyes this past 2 3 weeks, and it just felt like a, I don't want to sound like new age, but it felt like an ego death. Like it felt like it was like, whoa, like I reacted this way to this person. I reacted this way to this thing. And I had to like literally like do a hard reset. And so now I just feel like a new person, but I feel blank. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to explain it. I just feel blank.
And that's low key the issue kind of the gender wars have when it comes to the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So men down here that's supposed to be divine masculine, sometimes we have an issue where we express and show the wrong thing. And then females, the divine feminine, sometimes y'all have the issue where y'all might react and respond the wrong way and things of that nature that you didn't truly mean to. And then when it gets into your energy being in the fifth house, a lot of times when it comes to any planet, a planet and an energy always represent something that we're already familiar with. And that's like having a video game that you already beat. So sometimes it could play out like the same thing that frustrate us. So having anywhere we have Venus at, the house is in, that be the area our love life is focused on, and that develop frustration anytime we develop thoughts and feelings to something because they add accumulation. So you having Venus in a fifth house, that might have been one of your main issues or trauma being developed, or what you experiencing right now. Also, having the lack of love when it comes to receiving attention or your creativity getting that attention or feeling youthful or being expressive or being around others that you can feel light around without feeling like everything that's expressed has to be judged or some way, shape, or form. And sometimes the person who learned how to find that through their experiences faster than the other who got that alignment will be able to get into a position that it'll be harder to take them out of. So you'll be able to deal with love in that area way better than other individuals. But it might take all these negative experiences to get a hold of that because that's where your filter and light is at, aka
Yeah.
Venus there.
Yeah, I feel that. But I feel like I didn't have the time to go through that shift correctly because I'm still in the house like it's COVID. I don't talk to people. I don't fuck with people. I don't I don't go out. And I have that yearning to like meet people, find my soul tribe, find my purpose, find something to support. But I can't find that when I don't do anything, like when I, as far as interacting with others. And I have Pisces in 11th house, so
I'm about to just ask you that. I'm about to just ask you where's Pisces at.
I
This is
have
like your
Pisces
Pisces
in
shit.
the 11th house, so it's like,
Oh, but you got that left. Oh, so it's dealing with your associations and
yeah,
things.
but even with
Yeah,
that
so
I feel so much, so it's like,
it's
girl,
hard to be
I want
associated
to
with anything
sunlight
at that
dome.
point.
I want my Florida water. I want my sea salt. I want all that. I want to cleanse my body after talking to people sometimes. But
Yeah, it's hard to be associated with anybody if they don't match that La La Land dream
yes,
world that you got in the 11th
yes.
house Pisces. So right now
And
it's
the thing
always
is,
one foot in, one foot out, cold water.
I turned my La La Land from a straight jacket to like ideas for movies. So like I'm not crazy with that part no more. So I know how to like converse that La La Land shit, but nobody is like nobody's on my steez right now. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all about just kind of dealing with that house. But I'm glad you clicked the link because that's already you putting in the energy right now of that 11th house and transmuting it. Because that's all it be about it just be hard to find our tribes and stuff like that because we so misplaced and mixed with our spiritual predecessor ancestry energy. Like they placed us in these geographical locations and stuff, so we so scattered. So
Right.
online give it more possibilities for us to feel more comfortable with expressing ourselves and seeing more possibilities that it could be possible to find your
Right.
soul tribe and other halves and stuff like that. So
Right.
that's why I'm glad for this energy right now that I kind of created as a platform. But at the same time, yeah, I know how that can get, especially if this didn't even exist. We'll
Right.
all be in our own boxes even more.
Mhm.
And we ain't even gonna be having thoughts of trying to look at our neighborhood and next door neighbors and stuff like that. We already there long enough to realize we can make the decision that it ain't there when it comes to matching energies. So
Right.
yeah, that and then when you got that Venus in the fifth house, you're gonna yearn that every now and then. And ain't nothing wrong with that. So that's why it's good to we always in a situation of trying to find our energies to match. But the difficulty is how to go about it and where to start at and how to not carry that energy that we already in into that so we not blocking ourselves from that too. So
Yeah.
knowing how we see the energies that we match and going for it without pulling the trauma from it and
Yeah.
self-sabotage that also. Real
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna email you because I got movie ideas.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same name, Seven Legend.
It's gonna be a different email, but I'll put Seven Legend in the subject. You'll know who it is.
Which email you about to email? The Dolo or the flight
Is it
non? I mean,
Dolo?
astrology non alchemy or the
I think it's what is it,
archangel
Dolo 4?
Dolo for all right. Yeah, okay, that's for regular. All
I'll
right,
email
yeah,
that one. See
all
ya.
right. Yeah, shout out to Seven Legend. Real shit. I got movies in my head. I'm married. So, shout out to
Hey
Magic C for
Della,
the
how you doing today?
that. Pretty swell. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. So I have a question for the cards. What shadow
Okay,
work
let me
has
get it real quick.
oh my question
All
is
right,
what shadow work has to be done right now?
all right. Hold on. What shadow work? Oh, that might be old vague. Because shadow work is dealing with our insecurities or whatever that we got to deal with before doing something that we actually want to do already or deal with something that we're dealing with. But I know you don't want to be necessarily personal or whatever like that. So kind of get all right. Let me ask you this, Dan. Okay, you need to do shadow work. So there's a thing that's blocking you from actually what is the kind of area, if you could make an allegory about it, of what you feel like you need to let go before you go for that thing? You could just say it has something to do with art or it has something to do with like a name a movie and I'll be able to know if the movie a drama movie or action movie or comedy, you know what I'm saying? Because I know you don't want to
Uh
get personal.
um you said name a movie?
Or any kind of allegory that I can kind of be in that energy of whatever you feel like you need to do shadow work of. Because when it's kind of vague when you say what do you need to do shadow work off of, and then if I pull out a card and it's tell you, hey, you need to go work at the steel mill. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I gotta jump into the energy of why you feel like you got to do shadow work. And that always go back to like there may be something you want to do that you're not doing, or there may be something that not going on that you want to go on right. And then that leads into a little personal. And that's why I broke down that. I know you probably don't want to get personal. So kind of give me the characteristics using something else that ain't got nothing to do with your situation. But those characteristics kind of match what you think you need to do shadow work for before you do that thing.
Okay. Um I guess like arguments or like being conflicting with others
Conflicting with others. Okay.
in my
And you want to know
surroundings.
where to, okay. So this would be how you would be able to participate with that energy when you do the shadow work. All right. All right. You in indecisiveness. Thing seven. Oh, no, this ain't three. Three came out. So for the most part, there may be a gift in your surround. Now, when it comes into you saying you need to do some shadow work, your shadow work got something to do with a gift, something that you're creative as in your surroundings and something like that. There's something in your environment that you might be distracted by whatever that's causing you to feel like that and is blocking you from seeing your gift that could take you in this situation to get attention for or whatever the case may be. And the shadow work may need to be done because the shadow work is blocking you from expressing this gift. Now, this is a fire, it's a wand. It may have to deal with a fire sign, but this a tarot, so it ain't necessarily a fire sign, but it can be. But it's the energy itself. Some expression, That could be Sagittarius energy, something that you're not giving enough attention to. That could be Leo energy, or something you need to isolate and get more into your individuality, into your own self space. That could be, or be more selfish about something. That could be Aries. And when that's being played in your surroundings, your environment, whatever you're into as far as your surroundings at the moment and things of that nature, without that being expressed, it's going to keep creating that situation of not understanding at the moment what to do shadow work on. So it may be something that you got to let go so something can be seen, regardless of how someone or people, places, or things in your surroundings may look at it. And that might also give you enough attention to take you out of that surrounding or that place that you may need to correlate. So whatever shadow work that you're dealing with may be blocking you from, well, I mean, when you do that shadow work, you'll probably realize the things you're dealing with the shadow work was blocking you from fully expressing yourself in your surroundings or your environment, or dealing with the people that you're familiar with in some way, shape, or form. Something to
Okay.
deal with somebody around you, or some people, or something in your the location, or something in your environment that is blocking you from having enough time to express yourself the way you want to.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And that's all.
Yeah. Shout out to Magic Seas. So yeah, we can't. Sometimes we get blocked with responsibilities or other people's problems and other people's circumstances, and that play out like the Three of Wands. Something you have to express what you need praise for in these situations before other people dump too much of that same kind of concept on you, and it plays out like the same kind of concept. Other people dumping there with their trying to shine and their magic wand, which you need to pay attention to in your life, without the same correspondence being back based upon the third house being communication also, or your environment and stuff. So there's some attention clash or scene clash or smothering clash, fire being put out, aka someone's true expression not being seen in some way, or someone else's expression needing to be retracted a little bit because it's too much, or about some any kind of circumstance that deal with our feelings too. Stuff. But yeah, getting into the all these synchronicities out here and stuff like that. This is like numerology, gematria, astrology, bringing these things together to understand how to create a pattern in your mind, and that pattern be a characteristic, and then you'll be able to see how that same characteristic play out in different patterns. But you won't be able to catch a characteristic without catching a pattern first, because when different patterns play out, sometimes a pattern will play out with the same characteristics, but it's just playing out in a different pattern. And this manifests in today's time like being manipulated, get rocked to sleep, thought you was observing something, but it wasn't that way. And individuals know how to use that kind of energy also. Pardon me. So all you got to do is understand patterns first. And sometimes you have to be a fool to go through enough experiences to develop that wisdom of being able to observe patterns. Then you'll be able to start to rise above to a larger ability to obtain characteristics. And then once you gain that power, you'll be able to see how something got the same characteristic that's playing out in a different pattern. AKA you'll be able to know how you're dealing with the same people, places, and things, or same kind of job. Different people, places, and things, or different jobs that got the same energy. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, you'll be able to know how to not get rocked to sleep. You know what I'm saying? You might deal with a different person, but you'll be able to pick up the characteristic. So it'll be a different pattern, but it'll be the same characteristic. So that's how you get into the gas and liquid world. You'll be like, okay, this characteristic is being played out this way. So it's a different face, different circumstance, right? But same situation, get ready to be the outcome. So let me go ahead and chalk this up in the butt because I'm a wiser spirit right now and nip it in the butt. So people who low vibrational sometimes are lost in patterns. So they get lost into their validations, which suit their ego. So they suggest in their mind this is where they're good at. And when they reach an area that is not good, aka people, places, and things that's not around them to give them that same benefit for them to develop that idea that they thought it was good, then they start to feel extremely down on themselves. It's almost like a higher you jump, the harder you fall energy, because you was in some Luciferian concept where your ego got too wet and you probably wasn't around people responsible enough as spirits to kind of check you every now and then, or probably spoiled you and catered to you in ways that you didn't necessarily need. So you lacked in other areas of protection and not being able to see where you actually fail at when you present yourself into the external world. So anytime you get negative resistance based upon what you're comfortable with, and you was getting praised with a spoiled mind, you start to reach the highest down in about yourself. And when it comes to your love matters or business or career that you was trying to go for, that gave you that small piece of rejection. And you make a small problem bigger than what it is. And you may have to go through a lot more experiences to realize that you have to develop more wisdom and emotional intelligence before you participate with the world, because you may have been sheltered and it may not have been your fault by default due to the fact of your upbringing and whoever was around you who was unable to understand how to become a spiritual adult for themselves, regardless of them being in an elder body. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we be replacing shit with shit we ain't got no business replacing it with because we all out here for survival. We all out here for self-protection. And without understanding shadow work, we might not even think that's one of the things we have to do shadow work on. So we're not aware of how we're coming across the other individuals. And people who are more spiritually adults or more experienced will be able to see you as a fool, where you may think you're the most intelligent in your mind, coming up with any idea that you express yourself without knowing how you was going to be looked at, or how you was going to be seen. And then it would take you to be seen as a fool for you to start developing wisdom. But you don't want to create too many foolish circumstances and situations, because it built a bad face card. It built bad reputation. Even to the point that when you start to get enough courage to do the things you actually want to do in your life, you got other things that's unfinished business and things you haven't did in your life that actually blocks you from doing that. And once again, this is another path to you burying yourself and making a bed that you're going to lay in, and you don't care because you think it's more important of how you're seen than you actually getting out of these things and transmuting your vulnerability into an ego and being able to have that testimony to make you produce some product in this world, aka materializing and manifesting. And materializing is conducted from the ability, and manifesting is you going somewhere, sit down, and obtaining the ability. Manifesting ain't you getting something in the material world. Manifesting is you developing an ability that once you start to express it in the physical world, you can start materializing off of what you just manifested, which is an ability, a gift, a talent, a perception, utilizing a trauma, something you lack, and transmuting it into making it look like it's something that's good for you. All the way down to people who make music. Some of the most popular people who make music, their lyrics and stuff like that is about the things they didn't have, the things that they the trauma that they went through, or they first heartbreaks and stuff like that, and things of that nature. So this is a small allegory for me to make y'all as an example that when your vulnerability is being used, it can become your ego. Now that's one of the things you talk about as how you got to your position of possibilities. You know what I'm saying? Shit. But yeah, I don't want to get drowned out and stuff like that about astrologies and stuff like that. Let's click on. Let's start talking about religions and spirituality, some logic people, things of that nature. I don't want to start feeling like I'm doing free NATO readings. Oh, shit. But other than that, when we start talking about the spiritual world and the synchronicities and how we fly and stuff like that, it's basically stuff into the mind. So if you look up, you'll probably see me passing by. Real shit. You look up inside your mind and all this other type of shit. I was going down.
What's up? What's up, Doe Low? I had a question about
I was
astronomy
going deep.
and astrology.
I was getting.
Um, is the sun and the earth the same thing? Like the body
Uh,
of water that we on and the sun, is it the same thing?
what they like? Yeah, the same thing with the different transitions of it.
All right, because the question I was getting to is how do we keep track of other bodies of water besides this body of water and the sun? Like for example, Mercury. You know, Mercury is not like a physical body of water, like how they say out in space. So it's like a
Yeah,
satellite.
no, yes, it is. That's what
It
they
is.
is. So it's not a planet that they're pointing to that they call us. That's a satellite, but it's a atmospheric water. Yeah, it is. That's what it is. It's current. That's why they can't go above the atmosphere. It ain't got nothing to do with no Kuiper belt. It's extreme water current. Like
It's
if you was
ex-
to go to the bottom of the sea and stuff like that, or there would be no such thing as us having wind or clouds and things of that nature. So that's an actual cycle. So we see the things that it create within it play out and move in the same way, like the sun and the moon. So we keep track of these things based upon cycle. So since Mercury ain't a planet, we know that's a cycle there. When we put a satellite in that cycle, it do the same thing the cycle we in do. So for the most part, it take longer to do a full cycle. So it take longer for things like Venus to go a whole year. Take longer for things like Saturn to do a whole year from our perspective. Saturn
oh,
year is longer.
so I, from all what you just said, is what you're saying is they put satellites up there to track certain water currents that's more outer than what we in right now.
Right. So think about how we
Okay.
tell our time. Look, global time is time zones. That ain't nothing but the weather
Yeah.
system. So All of our seas, we got 5 seas, the main seas. All of them together make one water cycle. And that's just the
Yeah.
lower density of it that we see it, but it's actually included with the wind and the cloud. So our whole atmosphere, as the water, wind, and cloud interact with another atmosphere next to us, that'd be the sun. I mean, not the
So,
sun, but the one that we crash into to produce the sun, that binding system. And then for the most part, that's why the sun takes the shape and form of the larger form, which is invisible, which is clear. Clouds is clear, air is clear, water is clear. So we're experiencing the cycle transitions inside of it and shit like that. So when we track our cycle, all the 5 C's together is going to the left, and that's why we see the thing it create appear to be going to the right, because we're inside of an atmosphere and the 5 C's together, all together rotating to the left. We just on each time zone, geographical location, witnessing the density levels crash micro-wise. So that creates stormy days or nice days for one city and it rain for another city. But there's always a mechanism of seeing how it does it on a macro scale. All the 5 C's together.
all right, cool. Makes sense. That makes sense. And so what's the reason? So since we are on a big body of water and the land that we're on at the moment that they call Earth, right? Is it derives out of the water, correct? Which they taught me that in grade 3 when I was in grade 3 that land came up out the water based on volcanoes to the bottom of the deep in the ocean, and it
Right.
the molten lava. Yeah. So
Yeah, water didn't land on Earth. Earth got shaped and molded and derived out of water.
right. So the body of water that we on, because certain days I see the sun more like on the north, and then certain days I see the sun more over on the south. So is it a fact that is it not even a fact? Is it like where the land that we on, certain geographical locations that we on, like are they floating
Yeah.
above the water, or is it like all the molten hardness of the densities that was to the bottom of the water accumulating to make up what we known as islands and countries right now? Is it that there's like a lineage of had had crushed up densities of water to make the land as it is now keep on going up as we have mountains and stuff like that now? Or is it like
Yeah.
the,
I kind of get what you're saying is vague, but I kind of get the template you're pulling these thoughts from. So let me separate it and make it simple. I think what people think is like the sun or something like that is above your head because you might be on a geographical location that's so distant. It may appear like that, but it's like a situation where like how they got like California on a hill, like a mountain or something like that. For an
yeah,
example, something can appear to be up to you, but you actually can drive the distance, and the closer you get to that location, it would appear to be more ground level. So when we on the Western Hemisphere and stuff like that, it may appear that at noon the sun that got created is in the sky, but purely it's coming from the east. The further we drive and go to the east, the sun will never rise. You'll just be closer and closer to that big thunderstorm on that whole geographical location that when our atmosphere crash with that atmosphere. So when you think you in the Western Hemisphere, you think you see the sun in the sky. No, if you was to travel where that sun is being emitted at, it's actually on land. It just appeared to be that way based upon whatever time zone and geographical location from a distance that got derived out of the sea level.
that's crazy what you just said. That's crazy to fathom. Did you said,
Yeah, we all in the sky.
oh, okay. I'm getting it.
I don't
I'm
know what
getting
happened.
it.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so the further we go east is the closer we get to how the interaction of the clouds and the wind and all these stuff and the water
Right,
that we on, and it creates fusion and friction like you taught us, and that
right.
fusion and friction creates like a which would be like the wind. And so is there a starting point?
And we've been expanding. So look at it like this. This is why the Masons even think the first water spring over there is in the eastern continents. Because if
Right.
all the land is deriving out of water, then based on time, it's going to expand. And expansion is just us getting
Yeah.
to America and in the Western Hemisphere. So now over here, it got a time zone where if that big body of water, all the 5 C's, based on time zone, each geographical location can experience being way more distant than the eastern continents. So that's why it's more cold in
The
Antarctica and
West,
stuff like that.
yeah.
Right. So just based on the land that's being derived on the sea levels is what making the appearance be that way. But truly, the further you travel to the east, you're going to a big city or country is just a storm. It's always a big storm. It's going to be dark and stuff like that. And you might not even be able to have a car or anything or a body to be able to endure that strong current, that strong hurricane and things of that nature. That'd be that area far east where our atmosphere interact with that other atmosphere, and that's the sun. It's really just an extreme thunderstorm though, but that's the sun. And when we see it from a distant location, from Earth getting derived from the sea expanding, the 5 seas expanding to the left, we get to experience that event from a distance. So we in a sweet spot where we don't get destroyed from that event, but we also
Yeah.
don't expire real fast because that the temperature. We're not totally Antarctica either. So we in that sweet spot where animals and stuff like that can start getting created with our the sea tissue and shit.
Okay, okay, I'm getting it. I'm getting it now. So, the all right. I'm gonna keep. You know what I'm saying? Medicine on that for sure.
Real shit.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Real shit. Now let's make this simple, y'all. Micro, macro. Let's take everything we doing right now as micro, and let's say the whole world was one cloud bubble, right? And let's look at it like this, right? When this size, right? Because it's all about size, right? Density level. When one molecule interact with another molecule left to it, it produce something third, which is that binding thing. So it'd be a mixture of both things. So it makes it heavier. So that might be light, how we're looking at it at this aspect. But it's basically just different fluids interacting with each other that's purely clear and invisible. I call that the mind, thoughts and feelings. Now, let's say we're looking at micro, but we're looking at the whole world, right? When that first started, that becomes what we're calling East now. But at this time, it's just the birth of all of us at an early stage before it condense and become physical, right? So it's the first atom, or whatever you want to call it, that got created by 2 atmospheres, 2 density levels. Then once that interaction keep happening as a cycle, right, we start to see the accumulation. So this is why they coming up with life must start it on the east, because if the sun, the atom, and it quote unquote starts a rise on the east, then that sprung off the first condensing of light becoming water. That area. That's why all allegories in the Bible and stuff like that in Mesopotamia and shit, in Egypt and shit, gonna be about water. The rivers. It's talking about the stars. Stars are water, not motherfucker the actual water yet. It manifests and condenses into that. Right? Now, based upon on the east, when that happens, an accumulation of on a micro scale interacting produces a more condensed level. That is water. Okay, that's the first condenses of our consciousness becoming physical. Right? Now, here's the thing. We see once that happens, it causes expansion. So the cycle we in start to expand, and if it's deriving Earth out of it, Earth is getting more expanded and more larger portions, in more expanded areas of this transition. Now, the more expansion, the more that there's going to be piece of the cycle that's not as close to the actual starting event. So this takes us into time zones or evolution and us creating that sweet spot that the cycle is just enough that we could cause enough transition, death, aka spring and summer, and just enough condensing, consoling before it expires to hold on to it and don't experience death fast, aka fall and winter. Now, for the most part, this whole little system started off purely in the eastern continents first. Then it started to derive and started to expand. Then once we started to creaturelize ourselves, after we created ourselves as atmospheres, gas and liquid, then the solid world, the physical, we become sea and land creatures and actually start to extend physically on what we have already created mentally and things of that nature. So it's like a teamwork makes the dream work type thing based upon understanding the cycle. So each atmosphere we interact with produces a different position of a binding sun, of a binding system, and a different position of the reflection. That's why the sun and moon is always at their relative positions and things of that nature, because these are the emanation, the sun, and a reflection of the emanation, the moon. And you can only see the reflection of emanation based upon your time zone and how you're rotating to the left. So based upon your geographical location in your time zone, maybe on a high mountaintop or whatever like that, you could be able to perceive the sun and the moon at the same time. Based upon you being a lower geographical location, you may have to wait to that period of the year, so you become higher and lower than the other geographical location. This is why we call things above the horizon, below the horizon. It's not necessarily saying that it's going below something we in and we going above something we in. It's basically saying from your perception of observation, you might be on a geographical location that's above the event. So during fall and winter time, you are above the event on the east. So it would appears to be the sun being below up here, but your senses lie to you. But this is how it experienced based on the rotation. And for the most part, when we're going through spring and summer, it would appear you will be below that interaction. So the sun is more above you. So it creates more spring and summer. You see what I'm saying? But it's really around you at a certain way based upon your geographical location and your time zone. This is why if you're going more west to the Western hemisphere and stuff like that, when it's summer for y'all, it's actually winter for the people in the Eastern continents. When it's summer and spring in the Eastern continents, it's actually winter for the people who are in the Western hemisphere. So this is why we're able to even see it that way in reality for the meteorologist to even separate the land and that attribute and stuff like that. So if you look at life in any kind of way and you don't think it's going in a cycle, you're going to have to explain why it ain't spring and summer on the Eastern continents and over here in the Western continents at the same time. If you think the sun a floating ball, or so that's the only conclusion you could come to. You got to believe that when it's spring here, it's spring in Africa too. And that's dumb. We know it ain't spring here and spring in Africa too. So y'all got to learn astronomy and shit first before y'all be trying to talk about what y'all be talking about. Come up with the math. What's going down?
Hey, how you doing? So you doing you pulling cards? You answering questions today? Can I ask a
Well, what's your
question?
question?
Okay. Does it have to be just about shadow work?
No, that was her question.
Oh, okay.
You know anything?
So my question is about love and relationships.
So you're looking for a relationship right now?
I don't know if I'm looking for a relationship
Ain't
or
no
if
point in
I'm
asking that question
in my
then. You got to be real in the spiritual world. You got to be
can
real.
I
You
finish?
ain't gonna have me indecisive being flunked out, manifesting chaos in my
Can
life.
I explain why so you could that's why I want to explain. Okay. So I feel like I'm ready for a relationship, but only because that might be me confusing that with where my cancer is right now. Because I feel like every so many times a year, like my cancer must place somewhere, and I just really feel
This
like
is demonic. You looking for a relationship or not? Is you looking for a relationship? You can't be blaming it on the Venus being in the 18th house and stuff. You either want a relationship right now or you don't. And that's how the card's going to be able to tell you cut
I
and
want a
dry.
relationship, but not if it has to be like
Now you got
a certain
stipulations. So cards
energy.
can't, spirit guys can't talk to somebody with with the conditions. You got to be open to what's going to come to you and see and experience it. So you know, so
No,
the
it's
spirit
not
guys going to
the
say what they say.
experience. Okay, I get what you're saying. Okay, well then, yeah, pull the card. I want to know.
All right, wait for a relationship.
How you doing today?
Pretty sure. How about yourself?
I'm cool.
All right, let's see.
I was thinking about
Oh,
something
there we
you
go. Okay, my
said
fact.
too, but I
Okay,
wanted to
so that's probably why you in that energy. You hit the jackpot. So you probably got like options, like or whatever you getting attention for in some way, shape, or form. So that's was really what you more dealing with. So that's why I probably gave you all that energy. You got to decide, do you
but is
want that or
there
not? You probably already got access to what you got on your mind. You being indecisive, you hit the jackpot right there. You get attention. So you got to decide, is that what you want? Or do you want to be in this little open space to see if it's something better that could come? That's what you dealing with.
no? That's not what it is.
You
Okay.
sure?
Can I ask another question then?
Nah, we ain't doing free readings.
Okay,
We talking
okay,
about
it's fine, it's fine, it's
I'm
fine,
at,
it's fine, it's fine. That's okay. But
but
I
you
was
said
thinking about
we
I was
do another
thinking about
consulting this week.
no, yeah, that's cool. I was thinking about what you were saying. You were saying about things not happening to or for you, but like going through you.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, because to me, that's immunity, right? That's like being balanced, not necessarily 50-50, but just being balanced in all your chakras so that you got a balanced state of mind so that you're not even thinking those thoughts and that is going through you. So is that,
Where you could think them, but you could use them and not get and place something in your mind as a constant dissonance that you won't get affected by it, even if you proved yourself right. Like you won't get so affected by it and things of that nature that leads to a negative energy of just questioning yourself and calling yourself stupid and stuff like that. And every time we create a situation like that, our stupidness actually end up being a door that opened for us to actually be able to lead into somewhere, because we're actually doing shed work, shadow work. We're shedding something, and some of these things we don't think we need to shed because it protects us like snake skin, but it's actually that thing we need to do. Like, for an example, this is the best way I can explain it, but why you bringing up love right now. Let's
okay?
say you're a person, right, and your heart chakra get dry or blocked by default, because let's say you had a love interest, right, but let's say you got rejected. So you might be like, all right, nah, let me not tell them or anything, because that might make me feel like a certain way. All those thoughts gonna block anybody else from coming, and you might think that, yeah, I need to not show this person or whatever like that, because I don't like how that feel. But here's the thing. Let's say you get over that and you don't care about it and you let that person know how you feel. All that energy of feeling like that, I don't know why I did that. That'll be the
Oh, it's
time that all the doors open from all these other things coming. And you'll be like, oh, that's all I had to do. So sometimes we have to let go what we're trying to hold on to get to that area, to feel like the first place we're holding on to something to look right in the area. Sometimes we have to let go of something that we don't want to let go of, because we know we'll look a certain way in another area. But if we was to actually let go of that thing, that actually puts us in that area. We won't even be able to get in that new area without that. This is why we like see a lot of celebrities that we ain't know they had scandals, and all of a sudden they got a scandal and stuff like that. They wouldn't even be in that situation though in the first place if they didn't have that. All the way down to 1090 Jake. You know what I'm saying? Exposing all the snitches and stuff like that. So he got popular with it and stuff like that. But he wouldn't even be in that situation if he had that kind of situation for himself. It's weird the way the world works like that, but it's just like that. You got to give something up to even be in that situation you in. And anybody who have things, you try to hold on to it thinking you will look better in that other area, that actually blocks you more. It's weird the way the world work that way though. It's weird. You got to sacrifice yourself. That's what it's called. Like,
Um, okay. All right. Thank you.
oh, yeah, shout out to Paul Grounds, real shit. Let me get right for a second, y'all. And I know that was a dumb excuse, but you kind of tie that to a lot of things. Like, it's like a vulnerability that we hold on to because we think that's the proper way to express ourselves to reach a goal. But it be something in that you have to let go and express, that make you feel naked, and you probably feel like that'll stop you from looking a certain way towards that goal you want to go towards. And it's in reality, in the spiritual world, it's the complete opposite. That's actually what you're supposed to do. God won't even let you get in that situation being too like a demon, trying to control a situation around your own way. That's how God look at it. As a human, you might not look at it like that's what you're doing, but that's how God look at it, what you're doing. God looking at it like you got too much expectations. You trying to have something come the way you trying to come. You trying to be perceived a certain way that the world don't even see you that way. You making up that in your own mind of seeing things. Like, this is how God look at it. You see what I'm saying? For an example, let's say you're a kid who got bullied, or a kid who had a love interest, a male or female, right? And let's say you knew you was about to be a famous or something like that, right? Or actor or actress, right? Now, let's say it's two actors. You got one actor or actress that they like, all right, I got these people that shitted on me or something like that. Or no, I got these love interests or whatever like that. But I'm not going to express myself because I know I'm supposed to look like this where I'm about to be successful at. So if I got any of their energies mixed with me, it'll block me from being in this area, right? So this is a person that's overly thinking about their success story already, as if they already know they're going to be in an interview and have a testimony. So they already got in their mind expectation, shaking hands with the devil of how they testimony going to be, how that's going to be, the people that they made come in their life on their control. So this that person in that mind state, right? Then you got another person who might got love interest, right? Or things they want to do, and they know they're about to be famous, right? But let's say they actually do these things. They don't care if doing these things or getting in them kind of relationships may look like it'll block them from their goal. They even come up with ideas of how to make it work and stuff like, right? So they willing to go through what they think that their goals, and the people that look at them a certain way, they think that whatever look at them, make them look that as negative. They won't care about that. They'll be like, I'm still willing to sacrifice myself because this is actually what I want to do in order to get in that position. Now, here's going to be the difference. The person who was trying to look cute and not do what they actually want to do because they think they was going to look a certain way, right? They actually never get to that situation. The person who does the things that previously it looked like it could be possibilities, and probably previous examples of seeing anytime you blend in that and try to look at it here, and there have been previous examples of showing you to get there, you shouldn't be bringing these other things, right? Anytime a person get into that energy where they could be like, oh, I got stuff on my name or something like that, so let me not. Anytime a person just do it anyway, that be the person that God put in that position. Because without that being able to have people saying, oh, this person used to be in my inbox and stuff like that, you will never get in that position. If you're the person like, I'm gonna make sure I don't do that, because if I reach that position, I'm gonna look the best in that area I'm trying to be in. You will never get to that area you're trying to be in. And I don't know why the universe worked that way, because the universe will make you think that that's making you doing the right thing, because it protect insecurities, it protect vulnerabilities. You're able to see people outside of you like, oh, look, this person made a mistake, based upon, especially if you're paying attention to things that you want to do and you see other people being minorly successful in it, you're going to be seeing where they fail every now and then. And you're going to be in your mind like, all right, yeah, so I know what to do and what not to do because I'm going to do it like that, which that's good, but don't go too extreme on a percentage when you do that, because you'll fail to realize you ain't never going to be in that position anyway. You always just going to be judging, and then you're going to come up with judgment energies in your head like, God, why you keep putting this person in this position? And from a distance, we keep seeing them fail. And if I was in this position, I could do this and I could do that. And this person, this, that, and third. God looking at you like you ain't shit. You ain't nobody. You just a watcher. You're not a doer. So it's like the reason you ain't in that situation, because you somewhere thinking too much about your actions before you do them, of how you going to look and how you're going to be seen. That's the reason you ain't going to get in that situation. The person that's caught in between worlds a little bit of like, I still want to do that, but I still feel like this is genuine right here. These are the people that God worked through as a vessel to make things work. Or will be no such thing as eventers. Motherfuckers inventing something new in this world from their fucking mind. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Or y'all just going up under marriages and stuff like that, that the shadow government already did what I'm talking about for y'all, because y'all weak spirits. And we in today's time, they coming up with all kind of different shit, because we know it's the failures of that type of old and outdated way of conducting relationships. So we got all kind of different shit now. Preliminarians and Narians, everybody trying to create their own new ways of doing shit now. Even if they using the same terms like polygamy and shit, they say, oh, this my way, this my. So they turned that into religion right now. Everybody's secularist and subjectivity and shit. Everybody trying to come up with their own way right now, because the old world is dead anyway. And it ain't had nothing to do but what the shadow government created y'all for y'all to go up under that system, trying to control their way of what we all got abilities to do when it comes to all things beyond relationships and marriage. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I knew it was a troll. He didn't have a fake portion on there. Hey, screenshot that, y'all. That was it. He didn't have a troll ready. Because I was sitting here talking. He didn't know I was about to add it real quick. Yeah, screenshot that shit. Screenshot that shit. Oh, sad. And then the thing he clicked off on, he thought I was gonna be the fake poor one. And so it's a whole team of them. It's a whole little team of them crackers. I got them real quick. Got it real quick. I gotta say, oh, so you ain't no troll. Do this if you ain't no troll. Do this. Oh, okay. Oh, that ain't no troll. You had me afraid for a second when you quit the camera off. Well, if you don't want to show your face, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I was just trying to show you my face backstage so you could see I wasn't a troll. I don't care if my face.
Oh, okay, my bad.
How you doing today?
Pretty swell.
New to your channel. I just subscribed.
Okay, yeah, I be on tense, because I get attacked a lot.
Oh, I've seen that on this panel verse on YouTube. It's insane, man. I'm kind of new to it. I like what you talk about here. You're very enlightened.
I appreciate that. Real stuff.
So I don't know much about tarot. Can you tell me why do they call the first 222 cards trump cards?
Well, it's just based upon extreme events. So when something extreme happen, when they encapsulate that energy, it's supposed to tell a tale of any time a person get lost in their desires, the extreme outcomes. So the trump cards would be more about extreme things we deal with that could cause extreme outcomes, which purely every card is just an allegory of one of the rulers that used to rule all the way back to 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And they using Donald Trump now also. So that's another synchronicity that they got. So his gematria information come up with a lot of the mystic old witch trial things, even on a gematria calculator online.
Yeah. So I don't do too much gematria, but my thing that I do is I count dates. People always ask me why I do it. I say God's numbered our days, so I count them. So here's, I think, an interesting one. I made a post on it. I don't really make videos. I need to learn how to. But Trump, the 45th president, some people called it a colt. A colt is a horse, like a Colt 45.
Right.
A cavalier is a horseman. From Trump's birth until the Cavaliers' first NBA game, 8,888 days, like the 88 Back to the Future.
Right. Yeah, that's how you know the Jews have something to do with it, because they encapsulated the happy Sagittarius energy, which is the 9th house. So that's dealing with wisdom and using that figure and that energy to get us out of some lower animalistic nature in some way, shape, or form. So this is why they even using Trump to make us all conservatives in some type of way, even down to the Democrats and them putting Biden in office, knowing damn well ain't nobody vote for Biden. It's all a psyop to make us more conservative, down to the average individuals who don't know how to think for themselves, to still have second questions on their mind to vote for Democrat next time. And then that's another way of how they're trying to make us all more wise, even if we're the low-hanging fruit that they can't come knock on our door one by one or hang us upside down on crosses like they used to, because it wasn't as large as a mass of people.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, it seems like lately on YouTube, they're like, and I'm not going to say things that I shouldn't, but it's like they're letting anything go, because it's like they want the knowledge out there almost. It's like you can talk about anything on YouTube lately. So, yeah, I just find it super interesting, man. So I got a ton of research. I'm not going to bomb you with it, but I'm subscribed to your channel. I'd love to come back on sometime or whatever, not have it be about me. I'd love to bounce things off you, hear your ideas. You got a good vibe, man. So, yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, shout out to 6079 Smith. And the way you sound and respond, that sounds like somebody that I would set up something where it's just me and you for that live stream for whatever, how many minutes and stuff like that. Like, I like people that talk like you. That's what's up. Real shit.
Yeah, so I just really do community posts. If you did check out my channel, I got one video that I made. It kind of sucks, like the editing and shit, but I'm different. I'm not like anybody else that does numbers on the internet. You'll see that. So I like what you do. I'll keep listening, man. God bless you. Have a good day.
You too. Real stuff. Yeah, that's the type of stuff I respect right there. That sounds like the person got the right mind, so that take off real fast and stuff. Real shit. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? We just in a real circumstance where, numerology, that's a big thing that they utilize. So this is the importance of calendars and dates and stuff like that, because they're keeping a witchcraft or a timing that they can add that doesn't have to be spoken. So it's added to their practice of oral tradition. So all you just have to know the times we in, and if you up under their law and practice and you know the oral tradition, you're able to be their descendants to keep the world running how they're doing it right now. As far as, because these ain't people who's living for 2,000 years, they're dying just like you. So we just have the bloodlines, the descendants, just like you, the descendant of your families and stuff like that. So at the same time, you either with the government or you're not, from the behind closed doors. So when you're coming up behind closed doors and you with the government and you're going to their schools and Catholic schools and colleges already played out for you based on the labor of the sheep, like the humans and stuff like that, where they humans too, you start to understand the real calculus of how they're putting together the numerology and stuff. So you know that based on certain times, it was certain alignments, and that energy could be remembered and used in different times or times that match up that similar energy. So keeping a track on times help us understand when the transits may differ, all the way down to like your birthday. Your birthday 4 years from now may not land on the same date it landed on when you was born. It may land on a date the day before or the day after it, based upon what year you was born and the shifts that we was going through. You see what I'm saying? Based on degree. For an example, my birthday, I'm 17 degrees Aries, April 6th. But now my birthday land on April 7th and things of that nature. 17 degrees Aries, these past couple years been landing on the degree of, April 7th. 17 degrees been landed on April 7th. But when I was born, April 7th, April 6th was 17 degrees and things of that nature. So it's helping us calculate things in that aspect for us astrology. And when we break it down as far as tarot cards and numerology, it's helping us encapsulate, okay, there's a pattern behind it, and that become the lighter density versions of letters, which will be numbers. The art of deduction. So then gematria is the art of addition, putting things together in compound, whether it's the letters or the numbers, and bringing those two energies together to create another energy, an allegory, a perception. And based on that character, if it play out in the world as a pattern, we know that we made sense. That creates a sounded thought form or curriculum. If it don't play out in reality, we know it doesn't make sense. Some number has to be changed, some letter has to be changed, some spell has to be changed from the mental observation before you started to put it together on using the number or using the goddamn letters. So when you start to understand each number on their own, that's numerology, the art of deduction, being a mental pilot, math, and a mathematical magician, esoterically speaking. When you start to add compound, it's gematria. So it could be number or letter that you add into, which ultimately creates a spell. And the intelligence of the individual who know how to correlate things like that makes you be the one who could teach another individual more about themselves than themselves, because you're learning more about yourself and the world that we all created. Teamwork makes the dream work, for a motherfucker to be observant and kind of get an understanding anyway if they didn't understand it before you said it, and things of that nature. So for an example, two means dual. Right? So that'd be just the art of understanding what two is, numerology. Gematria, let's add another two to it. So you got 22, right? So that makes 4. So, dual plus dual. So that'd be a dual nature interacting with another dual nature, what creates a 4-corner perception. 2 different positions looking at the same area from 2 different observations and things of that nature. So for the most part, 2 characteristics, masculine and feminine, paying attention to another masculine and feminine in one area and things of that nature. The plus sign that joins them together. So this makes something 4th dimensional that both individuals that's being dual are discussing and things of that nature. So 22 is always like a logical conversation. This is why a lot of home rooms, when you go to your school, a lot of times had the 2 energy in it and things of that nature, or stuff like that's important and stuff like that. That's at the end of the number system. Always start with the 2 digits and shit like that. Or 22 be the main first group of numbers you see when you in a routine and pattern, and you need to stop being lazy about something and shit like that. You need to start having a more logical thought about how you expressing yourself to the external world. Dual energy in some way, shape, or form. Or you probably having that discussion with someone else. So you're challenging someone else's mental capacity based upon y'all conversation at the moment and things of that nature. Then that leads into 222. You could be a narcissist if that go too far, because that's 6. You paying attention to too much how you relate, number 2, to others' relations, number 2, because you think you got some objective way of dealing with relationships, the other 2. And then now that becomes you being in your 6th energy, focusing on that too much in your mind to play that character out in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension, well, ultimately makes you a person that's a narc when it comes to trying to tell people about their character and shit like that, or tell people about if they're wrong or not. You can't wait to express their wrong so you could be seen in the light as being right. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you understand multiple esoteric energies and stuff like that, to put you in certain foundations and circumstances of numerology, and be able to know that it's only 9 numbers. And then when you start to add it, it's gematria, and then it's only 9 dimensions also. So there's no such thing as 10 dimensions, 11 dimensions, unless you're talking about something in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension, and you're working with metals, or you're trying to build something in your mind in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. That's a compound. You know what I'm saying? Once something leads the compound, it's in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. You had to be in a 1, 2, and 3rd dimension observation of awareness to conduct the compound in the first place, because this is where things get polarized at. You know what I'm saying? What's going down?
Yo, Dolo, I kind of had like a miscellaneous question, and it kind of
Yes, yes.
piggybacks off what you were just talking about, gematria and building compounds and mind states. I was just wondering if it's a thing or if it's possible to kind of work with certain light rays, like in energy signatures, where if you work with the green light ray, you can kind of manifest money in a way, or is it possible to work with other light rays to kind of build mind states
Yeah,
in
that's
as a
what we do. That's how the shadow government added their energy into the inanimate object of a tree and leaves and stuff like that. But we have to learn how to do that ourselves. So in the mind, we know that these things have an essence. So we know that there's certain transitions and stuff that energy plays out the most to create that ability and that idea. So we know when that play out as below in the solid world, that type of light ray plays out the most during spring and summertime, because this is the time that we see that light ray play out that color in the physical world. Grass start to grow more than the winter time, and trees start to grow more. So that light ray itself is letting you know that's the period of time to plant seeds into something that you want to grow as a fruit that you can harvest when it becomes Virgo season, that you can play that cuffing season to that internal female energy, your emotion of what you added to water to that seed, that you actually got shelter during that time that these things not growing, but you produce so much during these times that you have that to sustain yourself, whether you're running a business or you're in a relationship or whatever the case may be. That's why when people hear me a lot of times make chick songs and stuff like that, as an angel jump into a logical thought. That be our message. And then when we come down to our lower chakras or deal with our emotions, that's the man coming down into the daughters of man. That's the angel coming down to the daughters of man and emotion. So I be talking to my emotions like, but that's how it's supposed to be. Look, the idea is the seed, the man, and the water is the emotion. And if you know what kind of idea, seed, and emotion you're using, that be the light ray, the as above, so below. Around springtime, especially during Taurus season, that's the time you want to plant the most seeds, as when you resonating with that energy. Then once you plant all the seeds of what you want to do, your spirit going to start creating things you should do that you ain't even come up with before, because you ain't had the right intent of planting the seeds. Once you plant the seeds, you're going to start doing a whole bunch of stuff that accumulate around Leo. Once it gets to Virgo, you're going to start having confirmation that what fruit that you planted and things of that nature. Now, here's the thing. If you're not on track with the as above, you could do the as below version, your own house seasonal transits. So it don't always have to be summer for you to do it for yourself. Look at your houses, wherever your first, second, and third house, that's spring. Let's say you got a winter sign there or a fall sign there. You could change it for yourself. So let's say you got Aries, Taurus, and Gemini in the 6th, 7th, and the 8th house. That'd be fall time. You could transmute it to be your summertime. So it don't matter if it's winter now, you could still plant seeds in that house, whereas where you got Taurus at in that house, even if it's in the fall time, and start planting seeds even if it's winter time. And that'd be your internal micro summer. And then therefore act out the green energy, patience, act out how branches start to separate. That means whatever you're patient on can't be one thing. It has to have multiple different sides to it that one thing can sustain. That lets you know you're acting out as the tree, patience, and it having different branches. Then having patience and stability on all these things, aka consistency, you're going to start to see the leaves and the fruit grow from it. And then you're going to be matching the energy of that they use to create money out of. And that's how you change the piping system. So when you start doing your creative gifts and passions, you're going to have that green light ray with it, with your heart chakra, and that mentality, that patience, consistency, and branching out energy. Be open to be branch out, not being stubborn based upon this caring about this little tree and object. Therefore, that makes you attractive, where you attract abilities and open up gates that people, places, and things that look at you be like, oh, that's good. You start producing money, everything that come from with trees, even other stuff. Stability, security in your life, from that green light ray, from the metaphysical version all the way to the physical version. You having green money, you being in an area where the grass is greener than somebody else's neighborhood and their grass, and all kind of other circumstances with the heart chakra.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. And thank you for those pointers, Dolo. That was my only question. So shout out the Soul Group. Thank you.
Yeah, real shit. Shout you out. Shout out to David Chatty. It's all about, and good question. It's all about matching energies. So anything you're trying to accumulate, look at the mechanism of it. If you want to make money, look at the mechanism. In a solid world, you know what they made it out of. So if you know that right now money is on computers and stuff like that, right? There's always gifts and curse to everything. You might have to act a certain different way, still using the tree energy, because they're still using the bargain and the gain system that they accumulated from the witchcraft of the tree. They're just in the wiggle room of transmuting it online. But here's the kicker, right? There's a gift and a curse. The gift is, online got faster Wi-Fi. So you know that you could go to one website faster than the other if you would have had that log-on computer back in the day. What they used to call that you had to put in the CD to upload the online and stuff. Dial-up. So right, online is faster. So think about them making money digital. So even though it's negative in other areas because they still need wiggle room, if you look at it how mechanisms is made, you can see the positives too. If online is faster in other areas where we could go to one website faster than the other, if they put money in that area, this also lets you know online you can make money faster too in today's time. So it's all, you see what I'm saying? You got to look at the mechanisms of everything. Now, when you look at the mechanism of money in general, or anything, relationships or whatever like that, you can't attract something that you're not being yourself. But you might be in this weird vulnerable energy where you're too distracted trying to create insecurities and not trying to be exposed, so it block you from things of that nature, right? So for the most part, you might give more importance to when you was rejected or you not getting that job. You might add more importance to that. So you might make up a certain character, an image that never match what you actually try to go for, right? So at the same time, you'll be thinking it's the right thing to do, and it's not. But you have to be the energy, even if the energy that you want, somewhere in that same energy, you got rejected in that area. You can't take the experiences you took where you got rejected in that area and create delusions around your ability to match that same energy. So you see what I'm saying? This is what develops trauma, baggage, being codependent and things of that nature, self-validity issues, validation issues, abandonment issues. You creating these situations yourself where the outcome look like you can justify that people did it to you, but ultimately you allow yourself to be in that position to create monsters around you where they probably didn't even have that access to do that because ain't nobody around them allowed them to do that to them. And you was the first person who woke that up in them. So eventually they didn't even know what they was naturally doing. They was just doing something that they thought they was getting away with and experiencing something, because anytime experience something for the first time, they get wet. So for the most part, it puts you in a situation where you just created a monster. And so, and then you just created a monster. So a lot of times you have to match the energy. So let's break it down back into money, right? Money takes security. Don't nobody just get rich overnight, right? Oh, I got to trash. Don't nobody get rich overnight and stuff like that. So all quick rich schemes. Even if you do accomplish it, just as fast as you got it, you'll probably lose it. So they already know you need to have consistency and patience in something, because it takes a while for a tree to grow. So that lets you know you need consistency and patience in something. Then you need to branch out. What is that? Having abilities. What is your branching out? What is you doing? That's one thing that can add on to the other thing that can be both a supporting system to whatever you're doing. That's another thing. These are what is called branching out. And these could be people, places, and things. For an example, one branch and its leaves may not have anything to do with the other branch and its leaves. And you might like the fruit that's grown on one branch other than the other fruit on the other branch, but they are still part of the same tree. What does that mean? Sometimes you may have to get a job that you don't want to work because that check can make you go get that microphone or something like that. That can work. That would be an allegory of one of the goddamn tree got the fruit on it that you don't like, that can help out to support the other tree of the fruit that you do like. And you probably can't even get on that high Jumaji tree without having that tree branch there. So don't cut that tree and get rid of that tree, aka, oh, I don't like that tree and I don't like that branch and the fruit that grow on that branch. So don't cut that branch that you could jump on like a little smack monkey to reach that other branch, aka that fruit you don't like, maybe a job you don't like, that can help you get a check to get the other fruit that you could jump up to get the microphone on a higher tree and things of that nature. But you could be a narc at the moment and think you too good for yourself and you ain't nobody. So now you in demonic world, and now you in a situation of cutting this branch because you think other people look at your tree like you got too many low-hanging branches and low-hanging fruit. So you're like, oh, I don't like the way this look. Before you know it, that you ain't gonna have no good Christmas tree with ornaments on it, because people who actually reach that position with the high mountaintop to be the star at the top actually didn't think about the things you're thinking about. Just same way I broke down the example of Britney Spears and other homeboy. So for the most part, don't cut yourself from that. And then when you start to understand one thing can be used for another thing, that's how you know how to branch out. Then you'll probably have people you introduce yourself to with that college or that job on that other branch that can help you not even want to have to eat the fruit on the branch that got you in that branch. You know what I'm saying? And then therefore you can still, but it's all still part of your tree. And you got to have patience and give grace to all sides of you. And therefore this how you see a person have an interview and they can speak like, yeah, y'all supposed to appreciate the first job because it's the first job I worked before I got in this situation, or this the first person I dealt with, or this that, because everybody gonna have people with your testimony and stuff like that. And maybe it's at me, but no, don't try to be like no angels. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that play out too. And yeah, I don't like her. Oh, there you go. So yeah, that's how. And then it's all about matching energies. And then whatever you're directing your goals towards, that's how it look like in a 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. But whatever energy that you're matching, that's how it look like in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. And you're never going to accumulate something from a world in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension that you ain't matching that energy of how it's accumulated in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. How the gas and liquid accumulate as trees and stuff is patience, growth, connection, the heart space, water in the seed, having good emotion towards something. How it manifests in the solid world is actually stability, the actual money that come from it and stuff like that, that the other shadow government put their inanimate energy into. I mean, their energy in that inanimate object. So if you in the solid world and you want something in this world, but it's made in the mechanism of another type of energy, you a person who's going to try to jump into that world based on competition, jealousy, try to get shortcuts and stuff, and you ain't even matching that energy and stuff. So if you do become successful on a shortcut, you're going to lose it just as fast as you got it. And that's how that works when it comes to life. You can't be speeding up process. You got to enjoy the struggle. Because without the struggle, you won't even have the sufficient artillery on your spaceship to even get to that position the right way. So when you get there, it'll take through hell and wind fire to get you out of that position. No matter the hater you got, no matter the stone that's thrown at you. You know? Oh, shit. Shout out to Madam Masita. Y'all subscribe to Soul Group Online too. Because when I get back on the road, I'm going to be putting content on there too. And different type of content and stuff so y'all can get introduced to and stuff. And that helps out the Soul Group a lot. These are more channels. And I'm gonna get more into sharing y'all shit too if y'all teach. Because I'm not in no weird ego the way you know how certain people, and I'm demonetized anyway, but I was 10 times plus that even when I wasn't. When I was they wasn't playing with my numbers at all. You know how some people could be in some type of weird energy where they like, I'm this. They in a Lion King energy. I'm this. So they got to sit around and talk to people or think to themselves if they even want to participate with people or stuff like that, and don't do certain things because they think that there's somebody. So they, you know what I'm saying? Like angels don't be in that kind of energy. Everybody's somebody. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that's what celebrities' energies they got to get out of. That's why I've been working on that mission so long. And the world have changed around to what I've been saying back in 2016 and now. I'm going to teach y'all how to invert these celebrities who thought they were celebrated blood cells and invert them back down to reality to show them what a real star is. Us creating an atmosphere. And look, we were successful. We were successful. All the celebrities want to be like us now and stuff like that. We were successful at it. Now, we got to show people better ways of how to even come together and teach in the world and stuff like that. So people could fully get out their egos as a completion. And we don't have to use anything as an ego or narcissism and be like, hey, we did this, we did that. Nah, it'll just be a proof in the pudding and we all come together. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. You know what I'm saying? You'll even have even online doing what I'm doing. Some people get online, it's not even a thought in their head that they even gonna add anybody in the chat. And I understand that's not even for anybody. everybody. That's not for you. So I understand that too. So I'm not throwing shade either. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got their own position. Everybody got their own NATO alignment and their own characters. I'm supposed to be wise enough to know that. But I'm still that's still an understanding though. You know what I'm saying? Where you can see how in my shoes as an angel, nor do I think about that, nor do I even care about it either when I participate in it and things of that nature. Where because you could compare and contrast. There's people online that you don't even think that they channel, they would even ever open it to anyone. And it may just be just interviews and stuff, and they're not even speaking in a way like they're trying to create a real community and do things in the real world. They strictly already got you thinking, oh, this is online, and it ain't even that deep for us like that. Just us showing up, that's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And ain't nothing wrong with that either. I'm just saying, I'm just putting things into place. But everybody got their own position, but I'm still just stating my position, so that don't get confused either. Because you know how I get trolls, and every now and then a motherfucker put me in a position like, oh, that's Archdemon Uriel, and I'm not doing something or something like that. Where clearly you must not be in reality, and in reality, the real things, I'm doing all that. That's the average person wouldn't even think to do and put themselves in that position to have others expect it. You know what I'm saying? So even though I created a lot of enemies from that, where it wasn't my fault though, but it's still that sometimes. But that don't mean I'm supposed to develop trauma and don't open myself to keep doing that. So that's, y'all can see me as a testimony in that area too. You know what I'm saying? As always, a living proof on just the walk that people go through when they're on spiritual paths. Oh, sad. But hell yeah. But it's always about matching character though, or matching the energy. So that goes for money, relationships, circumstances, businesses, or whatever. Or you're going to be seen as 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and whatever gatekeeper in that area is not going to trust you fully. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like being at a job where you know you got a bowl, but you going to that job to throw a football or whatever like that. Everybody who bowl and the gatekeeper is there going to look at you funny, like this person trying to play football here, or this person. And then for the most part, you're going to experience weird blockages and stuff because you're not fully participating in the energy that match with bowling. You know what I'm saying? But y'all be able to understand that in your full totality and whatever y'all got going on. Ooh, pardon me, y'all. Sorry. Bro, shit. Oh, that's like me. Yeah, we 2 hours in. I ain't know it was 2 hours in this motherfucking shit. But yeah, I'll be on the PBS channel later and shit like that. But yeah, this was just open dialogue when it comes to spirituality, concepts, physicality, how to blend those two things together and know how your spirit is not either or, and these are just experiences. And the human experience is not even something they cling on to. Even the Jews be thinking about that like that, because they put in the Bible that God wished God didn't create man. That's just a concept of saying God didn't create that specific thought. And they're talking about the human thought, because the human thought is beastie, because it make this kind of beastly body out of that mind, being a living word. So this is the Jews trying to make everybody create different organs that match theirs, though theirs is like a bunch of insecurities and shit. There's a whole bunch of insecurities and shit, and for the most part, us just leading down their paths and shit is why we get crumbs, because we practice their rituals and it never happens for us. And then we end up being internal narcs anyway, because what are we doing it for anyway? We doing it to get something out of life that they created. So ultimately we end up being just like them in the heart and morally, and it's demonic in general. So yeah, we gotta even stop getting in their mind frames. Their mind frames is all kind of flunked out and shit like that. Real shit. But yeah, we got some good questions and things of that nature. I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the whole soul group, subconscious community. And I guess the troll ain't get enough attention, so they disappeared. And they still watching. They just disappear when you don't give them no attention and shit like that. So that we defeated them in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension also. You know what I'm saying? We're a troll got to go back and play with someone who's willing to play with them. And we all adult spirits. We don't play around we don't have the idol's mind at the devil's playground. So we ain't standing in the park all the time. So when we ain't at the park, the troll try to find us like, why y'all ain't coming to the park? And anytime we ain't even paying attention, you know what I'm saying? We too busy manifesting and materializing, coming together, building a real street in Babylon and shit like that. They go ahead and disappear back to the devil's playground and shit like that with they flunked out ass idol's mind. And I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. No other further than that.